Hey everyone, and welcome to class. Today's element will journey into the fire. And fire is all about fruition and coming to the fullness of who you are. It's very joyful and it's almost like a small celebration. So, yeah, we'll be quite a lot in that, and the organ that it's connected to is your heart. That is the main organ, and then also connected to your small intestine. But mainly in the heart, so a lot of upper body things coming up. And remember to take breaks, or you can rest out earlier also if you have any shoulder injuries or something starts to bubble up. Let's go into the fire. So we'll start today in Baddha Konasana on our backs, and we'll move a little bit more into the upper body as we go. If you want the blocks nearby for the legs, you can keep them there. And I'd like to do a small kind of shimmy for the bolster so that the filling moves further away from myself, just to keep this end that is closer to more flat. We'll turn around and we'll come down to the bolster first. You can keep the blocks nearby, just so that you can make your spine more comfortable. So I find that this is a nice way of first starting. Always to land, you can bring your foot soles together, let the knees open. And I love the blocks here under my upper thighs. This is a small kind of support. And then since we're in our hearts, let the arms search themselves a little bit out to the sides to take up space. The palms to open to sky and to hold this energy of openness, of reminding yourself to celebrate the small successes also in life, and to really land into this almost like fire of accomplishments. And with fire, it's not this raging fire, but it's more of that soft sun that you feel during summertime, that keeps you warm and also sustains life. So see if you can rest in your own inner sun, and to open to really feel. Eyes can be open or closed. And then after some time, if you want to dig in a little bit deeper into the arms, you can let them angle more upwards. You can think of a small starfish shape here, or letter X position in your arms. If it's too much, you can always lower the arms down even to your hips. So remember to stay in your own comfort zone still. We're not trying to push any limits. We'll be here for about 1 more minute, so sensing into the expansion of your arms and that fullness of who you are as a person. Good. And give this about 3 more rounds of breath. And then with the last exhale, we'll do a small wrap with the arms. First down, but then to hold yourself like a mini hug of the torso. And imagine or feel how you can, with this, call back your power. So you call back everything that is yours, to really summon it into your heart space. Calling back your energy here. One more round of breath just with this. And then with the exhale, you can melt your arms first down. We'll bring the blocks a little bit out to the side. And then roll over to one side so you can come up to sit. Nice. And we'll continue with a couple openings to our heart space. You can first leave the bolster to one side or even sit on it. So we'll come to crossed legs. And we'll start with a few eagle arms. So many times when we think about heart openings, we only think about this front body. We'll also have the back side. So this whole area that the heart is contained kind of in. So let's let the arm kind of float forward and cross your right arm under the left. You can either cup hold of the shoulders. This is enough, especially if you have shoulder injuries, or we'll do the full eagle wrap so that the forearms lift and then you can hook fingers or the palms together. Then like a small seated cat-cow movement, so that you inhale, turn from the heart and elbows away from you. And then as you exhale, you can round a little bit in, feeling that space between the shoulder blades, the back of the heart, squeezing the arms a little bit into each other. Continue 2 more with this side, inhaling to open. And then exhale to round in and down. Maybe eyes closed for the last one, inhaling to broaden and open. Exhale to round in. And then with the next in-breath, you can first spiral the arms up to sky. And then we'll continue other way around. So now the left arm moves under the right. You cross either hands to shoulders or forearms. And then you cup hold over the hands or just fingers around each other. And let's do 3 on this side. You can squeeze first a little bit into each other, then inhale, lift the elbows forward, up. Then exhale to round in like a small curve. It's like you're hammocking the heart. Again, inhaling forward, letting the energy move into your arms, your hands. Exhaling, rounding, feeling the back of the heart. Last one, inhaling to lift, open. And then exhale to bow in. And then inhale, we can start to untangle the arms. You can lift them up to sky. Feel your full expression, like you're summoning all energy back to you. Hold that for 2. And for 1, and then let the arms come back down. And then let your arms rest for a moment. Turn the palms open like you're in a place of receiving. To feel the fullness, your joy, your inner fire. To awaken it. And then we'll move forward onto hands and knees. So you can continue onto all 4s, and you can keep the bolster closed. We'll come into a little bit of a twists and turns first. So threading the needle here, you're going to lean first onto your right side hand, and for a moment see if you can open and almost grow through the left arm. Feel heart to arm to hand. And then exhale, we're going to thread the needle, and with this one, see if you can press the hips a little bit back first, so that they're not full pressure into your left side shoulder. Head comes down, and then you can either keep your right hand nearby. I like this way of support. Some like to go more forward, or you could even go a little bit behind yourself if that's nice. I'm going to keep my hand close by. And then can make a small fist there with the left hand. So the arm that is under, kind of like twinkle, twinkle, little star hand, opening and closing a couple times. So we're supporting kind of the blood flow into that hand especially. We're here for about a minute. If you find that this is pressing on your shoulders in an uncomfortable way, you can come out earlier. You can even try pressing the hips a little bit further back. Eyes might close. So you're still clenching, opening through the fingers and the left side hand. You can first rest the hand for a moment and feel the difference. Last breath. And then we'll start to ground down through the right hand to carefully come either up to your hands or reopen one more time, left arm up to sky. Can give it a small opening there, continuing then with the left hand down, and we'll swap sides. Remember, it's a shorter visit, so you can always come out earlier. Leaning onto your left hand, really pouring down through it to open right arm to sky. Inhale. Feel that expansion from the heart into the arm, into your hands. And then right arm is going to move under, thread the needle. I like to always push the hips a little bit back. You can let the left arm either come behind you or forward. Just finding something that really works for you here. Once you have found a good place, starting to connect back to your breath. I'll not be here too long, but know that you can always adjust your hips a little bit further back if it feels uncomfortable. So to take care of yourself as we go. Listening to your breath and the opening that is happening. Inner expansion. Just giving yourself space to feel what's happening. Good. And take your last 3 breaths. And then starting to slowly press down to lift back up, either to your hands to rest or one more reopening. Inhale. And then exhale, let it come down. And then we'll come to Anahata, so the famous heart melt pose. And we'll keep it a little bit more supported because we're going to go deeper into it also later. So know that more depth might come. But to start with, at least, we'll have the bolster under us. So I always start with it somewhere under the navel-ish, and then hands are going to walk forward. I like to go wider. You might need to adjust your knees a little bit back or forward, and then let the heart just melt down somewhere on top of the bolster. And some of you are going to stay up higher. You can also rock the forehead down, and then extend through the arms a little bit like you're reaching for something. And then to rest. And here, if you're happier to move around, you can always lift and lower the chest a couple times, but this one will hold for a moment. And I find that the bolster is really nice as support, but if you'd rather be without it, you can always do that. So really trust where you are. Keep a little bit of an extension actively to the arms forward, and a slight even press with the hands into the mat at times. You really awaken those meridian lines that we have in the arms connected to the heart. Finding your breath in it. When I'm with this element, I always love to kind of express with my hands and fingers. So I might go to the twinkle star movement, but everything is optional, and to know that your practice is what matters. So I'm not offended through the screen if you're doing something completely else. To take care. For the last minute, if you want to lift your head and adjust your hands a little bit more narrow or out wider, that usually gives a little bit new feedback for the shoulders, arms. Look for a breath and a small activation into your hands. And then with the next inhale, you can start to slide your hands closer to the bolster if it's there. And we're going to press back to child's pose for a moment. You can push the bolster first forward. And I love to move the knees out wide. You can try this with me or skip. Arms go between the knees, so it's more like a cradle for the shoulders to drop. And then you turn the head to one side like a small, you look like a small bug here. 3 breaths here in between to really rest through the shoulders. You could also just sit and move the head neck a little bit. So very free to hold space for yourself as we go. Let's find one more round of breath. And if you're tangled up like I am, you're gonna first unravel one arm, press down to come out. Nice. We'll continue together forward, so you can now gather your props a little bit in. A bolster is quite nice to have just in case there at the front, and same with blocks just nearby. And we'll start out in pigeon legs, just the original traditional pigeon, or the swan we call it in yin. So right knee will come forward either behind or a little bit outside of the right hand. You can take a little bit of time first to prop yourself up. Back toes tucked or untucked, and you can check that the back leg is in a quite straight, nice line. I like to always floss the hips a couple of times, so I lift and lower, I prepare into my hips, and blocks could come under, as said, or you skip, and then you can have the bolster either this way around or the other, just to come down to your elbows. I'm giving a little bit of a rest first here to make it more soft. We'll have an option soon to come into a small rotation with our spine and into our arms. But for now, finding a depth that feels good. You can melt the heart on the bolster, and forehead could come on the blocks, or as said, I know that some are happier with the bolster this way around, so that you're really just able to pause. Bring a little bit of softness and kind of water-like element to your fire to calm it. Then friends who are happy here, you can just hang out. If you want to try the twist with me, you can first lift up to your hands. And I like to have the bolster a little bit still nearby for support for the head. So what we're going to do is let the right arm step a little bit forward, and we're going to weave the left arm under. So it's similar to that kind of threading of the needle where we were. And the head could come to the bolster. There's a rotation with the left arm under. Head comes to the bolster or to the ground. I just find that this is much nicer. And then right arm can go behind your back or stay again close nearby. So you'll also feel that it deepens kind of the stretch there from the right outer hip. You might need to adjust the block up higher or so that you're comfortable. And we'll be here a minute. So it's not too of a long hold. And if there's pain, please come out. We're still looking for that sense of you're coming into your power. So really owning where you are to celebrate that, which is. You hold for your last moments. You can take your final breaths now, maybe awakening a little bit of movement there before we start to soon come out. And you can start to press down to carefully lift first. It's usually the more challenging one to come out of this one. Be careful in your shoulders just to reset your spine to lift up first in breath. And then exhale, we'll come to the belly to rest. So you can move any props a little bit aside. Bolster can still stay somewhere near. And then extend the right leg back. You can give it a nice shimmy stretch and then come down. And let everything drop. You can bring your hands under the forehead or like a small higher pillow. Make 2 fists under the forehead and just rock hips. Or even just turning the head to one side with the arms beside you. To drop everything. And then before we do the other side with the pigeon and swan, we'll come a little bit more to the shoulders. And we'll start with the right arm extending now out to the right. You can bring your left hand under the opposite shoulder and we'll start to rotate over the right arm. Quite important to just check that you're having your right hand quite aligned with the right shoulder. So I see a lot of this or this or this, but you want ish a 90-degree straight line there from shoulder to hand. I'm not going to get the measure tapes out, but checking that. And then we're rotating over the arm. So kind of this open wing pose, left foot, either stepping over. I like to bend my knees here and just let them rest on top of each other. And then you can use the bolster as a small support for the head, or you can have a block also. And a few moments with this one. You can press the right hand a little bit against the floor and see if that can help you to find something new. And just check that the head is supported. It's also fine if you're down on the floor. I just find that something under the head just feels much nicer. It might not be the bolster. It can be a pillow or a folded blanket. And remember, it could also be with the left leg, top leg, like the scorpion tail. You'll see this also a lot. I just find that I can rest and hang out with the knees resting like that more. What could drop? And what can you also invite into the fire of celebration and accomplishments to really hold yourself in your fullness, everything that you are. We'll be here for 3 more rounds of breath. If there's any tingles in your right shoulder or right arm, you can come out earlier. This is one of those quite sensitive areas of the body, so you don't want to overdo the shoulders ever. To come out, you can start to stretch the legs down and then do a roll over to your belly. Before we continue, let the right arm slide up against your side, just like that, turning the back of the hand down and then dropping first through the right side shoulders before we continue other side. We can take a longer pause also, but if you're with me, we'll lift the head. Right hand comes under shoulder. Left arm out like a small wing there, opening your wing up and then starting to turn over to the left side. And if you like that head support of your, I do love the bolster for some reason here. Bolster under head. This one is quite nice. I can kind of mold it into my favorite shape of support. And then top leg, like a small anchor over, or we do the more of a bend in the knees just to hang out here. I find that this one is nicer and more nourishing and more restorative, and the other one feels like there's a bit more of rotation, so you can try both. They're both really great. Depends on what kind of day you're having. Eyes might close. And just feeling your own space into that fullness of heart, fullness of fire. It's very confident. We all need a little bit of confidence. You can try pressing your left hand a little bit into the floor, adjusting if needed. Opening through heart space. We have our last moments starting. You might find a little bit more of a rotation, or you just stay, or even come out earlier. And I find that usually one side is a little bit more open and one is a little bit more tense. So maybe having that in mind also. It's just information for you to gather for your own practice. We'll start to come out so that the legs extend back. And this time we'll come to the back of the mat to round the spine more. So you can carefully first roll over. Allow the hands to come carefully under the shoulders. And let's come to a rounded child's. So knees more together and then arms back. Think of that small bug. Drawing the energy in for a moment before we go to open up more. You can wave your hips a couple times side to side, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. And then when you're ready to come with me, we'll start to come back forward, hands and knees. You can awaken the spine a little bit. It's quite nice to let the energy flow. Go in circles or full freestyle waves here. Opening through chest as you lift through the tail. A small circle out. Finding your breath, finding your expression. Fire so much about your own expression. Maybe even freeing the arms a little bit. Rolling out the shoulders. Good. And then we'll continue over to the other side. So again, you might want to have the blocks nearby. This time, as you come forward, it's going to be the left knee coming either more behind the left side wrist, or I go a little bit outside. We all have quite different kind of bone structures and joint spaces. You want to be a little bit aware. You can floss like me up and down with the hips a couple of times so you activate and lower. Opening a little bit more to the right side hip flexor first, and then we'll start to eventually come down. So block under if you want it. And then we start to come down to our elbows. I always start up higher and allow the legs to give way first. Back toes can be tucked or untucked. You can again check that it's ish in one straight line. It usually likes to travel out or in. And then bolster might come under the chest. You can even hug your arms under the bolster or bring blocks under forehead. So many different ways to do this. Many really love this shape. Allow first yourself to give space for the lower centers and your legs to find a happy place. And you might already notice, hey, this side feels different from the right one. It is a different game, it is a different pose. Honoring what you find. And if you are just happy as you are, then you're going to stay. If you want to come into the twist, I'll have you push the bolster a little bit forward. You can keep one of the ends nearby if you want that extra head support. You can always adjust it later. Now your left hand is going to reach forward so that you can weave your right arm under. So think about really reaching under yourself. Head can come down to the bolster. If you're gonna go with the left arm on behind you, or you can keep it also nearby the face like I do. And then if you notice that it deepens the stretch around that hip, you can always adjust the block also higher up so that you're comfortable here. No pressure. No pain should be felt. And then we'll be here a minute or so. Can even close down the eyes to find this expression. It's quite tangled like a small pretzel. Giving breath to yourself. From the heart to the arms to the hands. And take your final breaths with this one. Almost like you're emptying out any last stuckness, any last debris to clear your fire energy. And then, friends, when you're ready, you can start to press down to your left hand just to carefully undo yourself from this. It's usually the harder part, as said earlier. Any props out of the way. And this time, come to sit. You can either, in your own way, come back, or you can lean a little bit over to one side and just to pause in stillness. Fire is quite expressive and big, so let the hands come to rest in your lap, with the palms more grounded this time. So by grounding, I mean turned down to your thighs. And drop to listen. If you're comfortable, you can close down the eyes and you can imagine or feel a small sparkle, like a small candle flame at your heart. To allow it to expand that energy into your shoulders, to your arms, to all your fingertips. And then, as I said earlier, you'll have an opportunity now to deepen more into that shoulder and heart opening. So when you're ready, you can first open your eyes and we'll bring the bolster behind us. And I'm gonna have you have a lot of support first also behind that. So we're gonna come eventually over the bolster parallel to the short end of the mat, and then behind that you can have either one block or two blocks, or if you have a fluffy pillow from your couch or bed, you can even have that. It's quite nice to have it as an extra head support. And what we're gonna do is soon lay down over this. Now, depending on the length of your spine, so this kind of torso area, we all are different here. It's gonna look a little bit different for all of us. But you can aim to have the bolster closer towards kind of somewhere under the bra line area. They're quite big tools to work with, so you will need to be very honest with yourself when you come down. The only rule is that your hips stays on the floor and there shouldn't be pain in the lower back. So I always leave about one hand width between my bum and the bolster, and then you always start just with kind of shimming yourself like that. You can come down first with the head and check. For me, I always love a block here. If you're happy, you can always be there as long as the head is not kind of floating off the ground. It's a little bit too big for my neck, so I have a little bit support. Now, once you're happy with the spine, arms can either rest on your torso, especially if your shoulders are really tired from what we're done. But if you're coming with me to the full heart melt, try one arm out. And feet are still grounded. One arm out. Think of a starfish. So that X position of your arms opening, opening, opening. A little bit higher up even. And reach through the arms into the hands, into the fingers. And then to relax the arms. See how you feel. And during this time, you can always close one arm down. You can do one arm by one. You can close them a little bit closer down by your sides, parallel to the bolster. But if you can, we'll hold them up higher. And the last option, feet grounded. I enjoy this a lot. Or we go full starfish mode, legs down and a little bit wider than your mat. And then we melt and we open. And it's very expressive to be here, to really call in the new, or to celebrate the new, the accomplishments, the fullness, inner sun, inner flame. You might twinkle your fingers a little bit, opening and closing, finding small sparkles there in your fire. And breathing into your heart. And here you have time, so after a minute or so, you might adjust your arms a little bit higher, or you can even try bending the elbows, bringing the hands behind the head. Some of my students love this one. Very free to express with the arms. What do they need? Or you're happy in the starfish, like I am. We'll hold here one more minute. And keep on returning to that sense of you, celebrating everything that you are, to open to that. I feel like sometimes when we're going to yoga classes, there's so much focus on, changing the pose, going deeper, but for now, just to hold exactly your expression, to honor that. Last 3 breaths now. You can first start to bring the arms back down to the bolster, elbow and elbow. Allow the hands to come to your heart. Bend the knees. And before we come out, just holding your energy. Hands to heart, dropping the shoulders. And feel what's alive under the palm of the hand. Heartbeat, breath. Come for a roly-poly with the knees to the right side, slowly, slowly, slowly. Bring the right elbow down to the floor. And then you can press down and do a mini scooch. First up. Ooh la la. We'll bring the bolster out. And just come down to restore the back for a moment. So block out of the way and then come to chill. Knees bent. Good. Do a small reset, immobilization first. You can stay still or hug your hands around, or hug your arms around your legs. Do a small scoop, just to be more receptive. If you want one last rounding, you can bring your head closer to the knees. And the head come down, take a windshield wiper, feet as wide as the mat, and then a windshield wipering. Knees to one side and the other, just last resets. And then for Shavasana, bolster can come over you. I do love after fire to have a bit more of a floaty sense. Up to you though. Bolster can come under the knees. And then hands on blocks if you want them there, or you can try, I find some of my students loving this more grounding hands. to a block in the palm of the hand, like a small weight, taking up a bit more space. If it feels like a no, then skip. Give the heart one more airing out, inhaling fully. And then clear. And then to rest, Shavasana. And so this is your practice. If you want to stay here longer in Shavasana, please pause the video and take all the time. If you want to start to come out with me, you can first take any blocks out of the hands so they can find a small flicker of the fingers. You can do that twinkle star. Finding some awakening into your body. Go towards anything that feels good and nourishing at the moment. It might be a grounding touch to the lower body centers, or a reach through the whole body if you want to stretch out longer. You can close from the ground or bend your knees to slowly and gently come up to sit for the closing. Your choice today. Go with the least amount of effort so they can also end in more yin to your yang. Any comfortable seat if you are upright, and to let your arms rest, or do one more time, bring the palms of the hands to your heart, and to listen to the expression of yourself, to the celebration of your soul, and to the lightness that also comes. And finding your way of ending with this. And big thank you so much for joining in with me for the fire element. I hope to see you in the next video, and have a lovely, lovely day.